What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us on the bench today. I'm Ben. This is Tyler.
And this is Bench Time. We're just two guys who are on the bench when it comes to the starters like ESPN, Fox, or any of the other big dogs. So join us on the bench and let's talk a little bit of fantasy football today, eh? Let's move on to running backs.
Let's do it.
This is also going to be controversial, top five. But at number one, we've got Bijan Robinson. Now, before everyone comes at me, the Falcons run that ball. Bijan Robinson was held back by Arthur Smith. It is Bijan Robinson's season. They have a good O-line, good schedule. He's the receiving back. Tyler Algier, I think, is going to take a little step back.
I think Kirk Cousins hands a beautiful football off too. So
It's just the most shiniest leather ball.
and then they bring in Michael Penix Jr. to do it left-handed. Oh man, we're getting that wild possibilities here in Atlanta.
It's getting
right
crazy
now.
out here in Atlanta.
But honestly,
defense is getting thrown off.
I think you could see even Christian McCaffrey slide up in this one spot. I think some people are even consider Breece Hall in that one spot. It's going to be a tough spot to choose from on that running back list. But I do like Bijan, and I like the potential there. And there's a lot of potential out of Bijan this year.
Right after that, we have Christian McCaffrey. But the only thing that's just a little scary with Christian McCaffrey is just the schedule's pretty hard. And the O-line has fallen a little bit. We're slightly deteriorated.
Still hoping Trent Williams returns to camp. You know, I mean, he's still holding out for a new deal. That's a big piece you're going to want for that running back.
Yeah.
And sign him. You probably want to sign him. From Packers fan, don't sign him. Trade him. Don't care. Same thing with Ayuk. Trade him. Don't care.
Right after that, we have Breece Hall.
Mm-hmm.
People could say this is a sleeper too, maybe. Maybe he's being drafted too high, but I think he's going to go off this year. A lot of people on the Jets probably going to go off.
I personally, whenever it was his rookie season, I did draft him. I do remember that. I was high on Breece Hall, and then he got injured. He was doing great. But the only thing that scares me is honestly the O-line. I mean, I know that they built it up, but it's just hoping that the O-line stays healthy. If the O-line stays healthy, Breece Hall should have a good wall to run through. But that's just the only thing that scares me with trying to keep Breece Hall up in that top three. You know, that
O-line,
top two.
but also Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's coming off injury. Hopefully he stays healthy because once Aaron goes down, the Jets go down because
Tyrod
they're not
Taylor
going to be running the ball. They're going to be throwing it because they're going to be behind so much.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
It can be risky. Maybe that is a little too high, but I think it's a good season for Breece Hall here.
He's a dog, and I think he's gonna show it.
Yeah,
he's gonna show it.
At 4, we have Jonathan Taylor. Like I was saying earlier, Colts are going to be a running team. They're going to be a motioning team. We're going to see some good old JT this year.
Yeah, I believe so. I think JT's really going to just bring out that Shane Steichen offense, and he's going to just show it with, especially just the dual threat, like you said, with Anthony Richardson in that backfield. It's going to be a good year for the running game there in Indy.
The only thing that's a little tough is maybe that schedule, but I mean,
yeah,
it's just how it is in the AFC South this year.
That's what it does.
Number 5, we have Saquon Barkley with the Eagles this year.
I like Saquon this year, and I think this O-line keeps him healthy. I really do, but I mean, at 5, I mean, you got to take him at 5. I think it's hard to look at any of that list below it and be like, can I justify taking that pick over Saquon?
Right.
You're gonna get laughed at in the draft, I think, if you do such things.
Yeah.
But
see, I personally won't. I am a little afraid of it, but that's also because I have had the bad luck of having Saquon like 3 times. I wanted him 1 year, and then another year it was either Saquon or like Javonte Williams or something. You're taking Saquon.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the other time. I've had him 3 times though. I just don't want him.
But
I don't.
Yeah. I know it. Somehow it always seemed like every year he ended up on your team, no matter if it was a trade or if you drafted him. He always ended up on your team.
And it was a weapon in a video game that's got that curse of Minecraft. Yeah, curse of binding. Saquon Barkley, curse of binding. Moving on. Number 6, we got Kyren Williams. He had a good year last year. I think he has another good year this year.
I think he's going to build off of it. I think even Blake Corum being there, is going to even kind of relieve a little bit off of him, and I think that's going to build some bigger runs for him. I think.
I don't think that's gonna really. I don't think we really see much of Blake Corum this year.
You don't think so?
Same thing with Isaiah Spiller when he was drafted a couple of years ago. I think from Michigan State.
Yeah.
He's he. I don't even know if he's still there, but the Chargers they just kind of bury their running backs for some reason. Same thing with Austin Eckler last year. I mean, they didn't know what they're doing. Then again, it is Jim Harbaugh. I don't know what they're gonna do, but he he probably will. I don't know.
It's yeah.
Michigan boys. So
It's yeah. That's a tough one. Other than that, coming in at 7 here, we got Josh Jacobs making a big move from the Raiders to the Packers. I think he's getting a better O line. I think he's getting better play calling. I think his attempts may go down a little bit.
you think?
I think just slightly. I don't think a Matt LaFleur ran offense doesn't chug off of a very high carried running back. But that is because we had Aaron Jones and just the size comparison, the type of running back compared to Josh Jacobs.
So you think we see a little more Quadzilla this year?
I think if anything with Josh Jacobs, you're going to see less rushing attempts, but more receiving. I think you're going to see a lot more receiving touches. I think you're going to see receiving touchdowns out of him.
Okay.
He has not had a receiving touchdown in his career. He's actually 6 catches away from breaking the record for the most amount of receptions without a touchdown.
I don't even know the over on Breeze Kings, but we'll take it.
I think he catches a screen pass for a touchdown in the first game of the season. Bet it.
We have Breeze Kings.
Do it.
Next at 8, we have Jahmyr Gibbs. It's Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, come on, best O line in the NFL probably.
And I think he definitely overtook David Montgomery, especially with the David Montgomery injury towards the end of the year. And I think Jahmyr Gibbs definitely showed he's got the speed, he's got the receiving, he's got the ability to go get it done for the Lions.
He's gonna eat. At number 9, we have the Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, Chiefs, when we're up by 89, we can't just keep throwing the ball. We have to run it, and none other than Isaiah Pacheco to run it. Or we'll throw it to him a little bit in the backfield. Or we'll piss him off a little bit, and he'll just run at the ground, just start digging into the ground, and then it will pop up in the touchdown.
Just like
in the touchdown, in the red zone.
Little mole, man, just like digs us like a little gopher or something, you know? It's finding his way.
The mole.
Pacheco the mole.
I think we got to watch nicknames with Rashee Rice right now.
We definitely
have
to
be honest.
We have to watch.
Gotta be careful with that.
Yeah.
Anyways,
James Cook coming in at 10.
At 10, I think he's gonna have a pretty good year compared to last year.
He's going to need to with that Buffalo offense. That Buffalo offense is not stout as we talked about previously, and I think James Cook is going to provide a lot more to the offense than he has in previous years,
especially in the receiving game. I think Josh Allen's going to have no choice but to just check down to the man.
Yeah, definitely.
It's unfortunate, but I just think James Cook is going to just fly up there a little bit just because of his receiving. Probably still some low attempts. And probably some low yardage when it comes to rushing still. But I mean, still solid O-line, and he's still basically the only running back. So
let James
take
Cook.
him at 10.
Let James
He'll probably
Cook
slip a little bit too.
All right.
Next.
Coming in up at 11, we got Travis Etienne. I like it coming in for the Jaguars. I think he's going to have I mean, he definitely had a productive season last year. I think he's going to build off of it pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean, that O-line still finding its pieces, but it's starting to get in its groove. And like I said, with the addition of some other pieces on the wide receiver cores, it's just going to open up the run a little bit more. I think he's going to have a good season.
And I think with the Tank Biggins-Smith in the backfield, it's a little scary. He's thinking about that every morning. He's like, I cannot let the man take over my spot.
No, I'm sure he probably looks at the mirror every morning and goes, you will not let Tank Bigginsworth take your position.
You will not. Right after that, Joe Mixon. I'm really high on Joe Mixon. I think we see a whole different Joe Mixon here. Simply because, like I was saying with the Chiefs, the Texans are going to be up not by 89. Come on, let's not get crazy here. Jeez. When the Texans are up by 7, they're going to have to run the ball a little bit. And Joe Mixon, I think, with that O line. I think we're going to see some more receiving, um, and just higher attempts. The Bengals held him back. They never ran with him much.
Yeah.
Granted, he was injured a little bit, but I just don't think the Bengals used him well. And I think the Texans are really going to
And
use him well.
I think that Bengals O line, I think you can definitely say was a lot worse compared to what this Texans O line he's coming into
I
now.
agree.
So I
Yeah.
mean,
So
I think it's almost a Josh Jacobs type situation where he's moving to a better O line, a whole better situation, and that's why I think we're going to see a resurge of the original
yeah,
Joe Mixon.
it also makes these guys a little risky because they've been so used to not relying on
Yeah.
their O line, and now they are. So probably going to see some holes where they just run right around it. But hey,
Hey,
you do you, boo.
you do you, boo.
All right, next we have Derrick Henry. You guys are probably like, wait, why is he so far down? Simply just because I think the Ravens are going to run him to the ground and don't want to say the injury word. I already said it, but he could
God,
get
please,
injured. He
no!
could get tired. He probably won't produce as much. But and Keaton Mitchell in that backfield, that dude is fast.
I mean,
And the Ravens still split running
the
backs. I don't know if they still will, but they should.
the Ravens definitely rely on a deep running back room because that's just how the Ravens running back room works. It's there's always an injury or two that occurs. God forbid it happens, but I mean, being realistic, it's not bad to think that Keaton Mitchell could be the running back for this team at some point this season.
Derrick Henry will still be there on the goal line to jump 7 foot in the air.
Or throw a left-handed pass to a defensive tackle or just some weird
Or
play.
hit the Winter Soldier stiff arm. I
He
mean,
could do a cartwheel in the end zone too. That'd be pretty cool.
he could do a cartwheel with no arms,
And then do a
probably.
backflip and then step on somebody and just be like, "Oh, take that!"
Getting brutal out here.
I mean, it's Derrick Henry. What do you expect?
And it's Baltimore.
This man would run over a semi if it meant getting to the goal line.
Yeah, because Semi is not running over him. That's for sure. All
Ick.
right, moving on. Next we have Devon A Chain. Devon A Chain.
I like it. I like it here.
It's fun to say his last name.
I mean, I personally think that Raheem Mostert is still going to get the primary of the touches, but I think Raheem Mostert still is the more injury prone of the backs, and I think Devon Achane will probably be the smarter option if you want a long term player for your team.
I personally think last year was Devon A Chain trailer. I think that was just a trailer. I think they're going to let him loose this year. Raheem Mostert, just like I was saying with Derrick Henry, he's going to be the receiving back. He's going to be that goal line guy. But I really just think it's all Devon A Chain this year.
Yeah,
But we'll see. I mean, then again, there's still Jeff Wilson sneaking back there too. So
that's true.
who knows?
Kenneth Walker coming in here at 15. I am actually a lot higher on Kenneth Walker here than 15. I think the Washington offense getting brought into, I think it's really going to help the run game. I think they got a couple O line pieces in the draft. I still like their tackles there. I think Kenneth Walker is going to have a pretty good season this year. I really do, but it's going to really wrap around the quarterback play. I think that's really where it's going to come from.
I don't know. I'm a little too traumatized from last year. Him getting like, there's a game he had 4 running attempts.
Yeah, yeah.
He had 1 point or something on my fantasy, and I lost because of that. Because I
th-
was expecting him to get, maybe 10.
that makes you just immediately just want to just trade. Just you see that performance, you're like, I need to get you
But
off my
after
team.
that, there's no trading that.
The-
Someone
oh
looks and
yeah,
like, oh, he had 1 point. See you later.
and then somehow
See you later, pal.
you get a trade to go through, and then all of a sudden he rushes for like 160 yards the next week on that guy's team. You're like,
That's always how it is.
other
All
than
right.
that, Najee coming in at 16. I like it here. I think. I mean, this O line's been bolstered up through the draft for the past couple of years. They're getting stacked on that, and I'm just hoping that Arthur Smith can really bring a good run game to this team.
We'll see. The only thing is Najee Harris playing for a contract. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
I don't think we should worry about Jaron Warren. I'm seeing a lot of fantasy websites him being drafted high or
even
even before
sometimes
him.
over Najee. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
don't. I don't see that happening. Just don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't be afraid. take Najee.
Take the
I
safe
think this
pick.
is the year where he has a pretty good year.
He's fighting for that contract. I mean, if you look historically, a lot of guys really will be fighting for that last year on their
Yeah.
contract. I think that you're going to see a productive year out of
The
Najee
only
this
thing that'll
year.
stop him will be Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
We'll see.
definitely.
All right. Then at 17, we have Rashad White. At 18, Alvin Kamara. 19, DeAndre Swift.
Hmm.
20, David Montgomery. It's a little risk there. Like you said, coming off that injury.
And with the split back going on there, I mean, it could be even a little high for David Montgomery. But
And then 21, Zach Moss. A lot of fantasy draft mock drafts have him being drafted way, 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 way later. You're gonna draft this guy, and then people are gonna be like, "Why are you drafting him so early?" Think about it. All right, the Bengals are a good team.
yeah,
When Zach Moss was running back one before Jonathan Taylor came in, he was balling. Also receiving. He got some receiving touches in there. So I think it's going to be a pretty good year for Zach Moss. This is the year where he shows he can be a running back one.
yeah, and they just
And with the Bengals being a good team, I mean,
yeah.
it should help.
I mean, we have them as division winners. I'm pretty sure. So this team, I think they're gonna score a lot of touchdowns through the air with Chase and Higgins, but Zach Moss is really gonna show his worth on the ground this year, and I think he's due for a lot of receiving and a lot of rushing
And
touchdowns.
Joe Burrow checks down a lot.
He does, and I think Zach Moss can help him out in that situation
Yeah.
quite a bit.
So take it as you want. You can take him a lot later if you want to, but he's going to have a good year. Um, and then moving on, we got Zamir White, James Conner, and Brian Robinson to finish that out.